Shout out to Jamal Bryant. Shout out to Von Alvarez. But if y'all play that interview, somebody getting snatched off the pulpit. Don't play the interview. It's not clear. It was out of bounds. Me and Pastor Brian need to talk because the way I was treated was dirty and illegal. And I don't like it. And I don't want nobody to play that fucking interview. I don't care if you from the church or not. Like be respectful and do people right. Don't call people out their name and don't make people feel like they not safe in a place where they thought they were safe. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, we need to work it out. Because if we don't, that's going to be a problem.
Ray J doesn't want the interview to go out at all. And here is Pastor Jamal Bryant's response, saying that I was so grateful to recently interview one of the few mavericks of this generation, Ray J, who has been more than impactful in many different fields. It was both surprising and disheartening to wake up to unfounded threats and baseless accusations directed at me. As part of our commitment to honest dialogue, we ensured that specific comments with potential legal ramifications were edited out of the interview to safeguard the best interest of a brother beloved. Our Jamal Bryant podcast mission is to foster authentic and constructive conversations with thought leaders, and this episode was no exception. We are a live-to-tape production that ordinarily makes no edits. However, in the spirit of brotherhood, it was nixed with the agreement that no other adjustments would be made, as the Jamal Bryant podcast, let's be clear, endeavors to be earnest and transparent on every episode. Though private agreements have now been brought into the public eye, I refuse to be embroiled in a battle that demeans our community and all that I stand for. I love my brother unconditionally, and I stand on my agreed promise. Grace and peace to you all.
Look, first off, I want to apologize to Jamal Bryant. It's not okay. Speaking that kind of language to a pastor is unbelievable. It's uncalled for. It's disrespectful. It's distasteful. It's disgraceful in every sense. I don't care what I said it for. No matter what prompted me to say that. And Pastor Bryant knows some of the stuff that I was going through. I was going through it in the interview in real time. But to show my frustration like that is not cool. Saying I'm gonna snatch somebody off the pulpit and they a pastor is being blasphemy, or on that same level, whatever that means. It's not okay. My bad, Pastor Bryant. I apologize, man. I lost it. I'm human. People go through stuff, and I was very angry because I'm scared that some of the stuff I said that I wasn't supposed to say could affect me legally and stuff like that. So I just lost it, and I shouldn't have said words like that. Pray for me. If you would have me at your church next time you are fellowshipping, I would love to come through and pray with you in person, pray with you with the whole church. I apologize to the whole New Birth. And whenever you are preaching again, or whenever I can come through on a positive tip to just say I'm sorry personally to you and the church and the fellowship, please have me. I would love to do that as well. And again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to you, my mama, my daddy. I come from the church, and to say those things is foul. And I was foul, and I'm sorry. Okay? I'd love to see you soon, and we pray together about it, and hopefully you can knock off some of this negative energy around me and around my soul, man, and we can start fresh.
Ray J, more than likely, in my opinion, made it clear that certain things he didn't want to be in the interview to be aired, which Pastor Jamal Bryant has no problem doing. The issue is not with Pastor Jamal, it's with the raw footage. And let me explain. When it comes to these podcasts, you have a production company that owns the equipment. Maybe someone else does the editing. Then you have another company or a person that does the booking of people. Then you may have a producer. There's a whole bunch of people behind the camera that Ray J made the Instagram live about. It's the people behind the scenes. Because if Jamal Bryant airs, let's say what Ray J says, Ray J could sue Pastor Jamal Bryant, or a potential alleged victim could sue Pastor Jamal Bryant. So the issue isn't with the pastor, and the issue isn't with the church per se. The issue is with the fact that the raw footage is out there, and someone can go to Ray J later on and say, if you don't want this to air, then you need to pay up. Ray J has no problem talking about Diddy and other celebrities paying up to keep people quiet. Ray J does not have catch and delete money, especially because you're not talking about Pastor Jamal, who you'd be doing this payment to. You're talking about people in the production crew, the church. There's a whole plethora of people that have access to that raw footage, and them with the raw footage would be the ones to go to Ray J saying, pay me or this goes out. And that's the reason why Ray J was talking about Pastor Jamal's church and talking about snatching someone from a pulpit, because he's sending the threat to Pastor Jamal to check everyone in the production process of his podcast. So Ray J is basically saying that instead of me worrying about individuals who have the raw footage who will come after me, Pastor Jamal, I'm going to come after you if somebody says anything to me. It's kind of like a shakedown tactic so that Ray J doesn't have to send goons or himself to be involved with 100 different people. He can just hold Pastor Jamal somewhat responsible for anything that does happen, especially since someone who's involved with the equipment, the editing, people who were there witnessing it and heard it firsthand, maybe a producer, even an alleged victim or victims could come forward and say, hey, I heard this, I have this proof. Ray J couldn't sue them in court because they would have the proof of Ray J actually talking about it or discussing it. And now Ray J is liable. Because when it comes to a civil suit, most of the time the civil suits get thrown out when there's evidence that you actually committed a crime. So now it puts you on the defense for somebody coming to sue you. Ray J said two things that is important with this as far as trying to figure out what's going on. Number one, he says that he was called a name. Number two, he says the way he was treated was dirty and illegal. The only way you could be called a name that you don't want to be labeled with is PEDO or predator, or maybe even grapist. Whether it's the PEDO or grapist, those are two labels that when you're labeled with that, it's a scarlet letter, it's a black mark. Second thing is he said he was treated dirty and illegal. So what I'm thinking is this, and this is all alleged. In the interview, they probably talked about Donald Trump winning and the MAGA thing because Ray J's been supportive of Donald Trump. Ray J also has his show that he does. He's been vocal about celebrities coming to him about the Diddy stuff, which Ray J has no problem talking about that because he was on TMZ's interview. So this is not about him talking about other people. It's about things that he may have done that he was asked about. And let me give you an example. So even though Ray J has been trying to help victims, allegedly help celebrities who may be implicated in stuff, Ray J himself, May 30th, 2014, he was at a bar in Beverly Wilshire Hotel in Beverly Hills, California, when a woman accused him of inappropriately touching her posterior, her butt. Police were called and deemed the touching incidental, but he was asked to leave by the hotel staff. Ray J became angered because he contends he spent tens of thousands of dollars at the hotel over the last year. At some point, He allegedly became belligerent and, according to the police, spat at an officer and kicked out a police car window in the process of being arrested. The charges against him included vandalism, resisting arrest, and battery against a police officer. And then on July 22nd, 2014, prosecutors stated the arrest had turned into 4 criminal charges. He was charged with sexual battery, vandalism of a police car, battery against a police officer, and resisting arrest. They claimed he willfully touched the woman's intimate part for the specific purpose of sexual arousal, sexual gratification, and sexual abuse. On August 19, Ray J pleaded not guilty to the misdemeanor charges. In that situation, he was involved with law enforcement for sexual battery. This is all alleged, but he more than likely is having celebrities come to him to talk about paying people off. He knows about Diddy and Diddy's parties because even though he's told TMZ he was not at the parties, he's not done anything, he more than likely, in my opinion, has dirt on him. I think, this is all alleged, he went to Pastor Jamal Bryant on the podcast. He started to confess to things, thinking that it was a safe space, like Ray J was saying. People started calling him names. Things got heated. And Ray J realized that even though Pastor Jamal Bryant's a pastor and the people who work for the podcast are in the church, that these are regular people who are judging him, are doing things for entertainment value. And one thing led to another. He wanted certain parts taken out. Pastor Jamal Bryant, based off what he said on the social media, he's going to agree to do that. But I think Ray J, when leaving the podcast, talking to other people and reflecting on it, he's now thinking, you know what? I think other things were said that may have incriminated myself. And then also there's the raw footage. So even though what's aired will leave out the legal stuff, will leave out things that he was accused of being, such as them calling him names and him confessing the stuff allegedly, that the raw footage is what is really damning. So in other words, there's people in the production crew, people who are in charge of the equipment, the editors, people who were there witnessing stuff and they overheard things. Maybe they were recording with their phones or a listening device. They may come forward and want to shake Ray J down. Ray J doesn't have any catch and delete money to pay off all those people. And that's the reason why he's going to Pastor Jamal Bryant, holding him responsible, because if people come at him, he's going to go at Pastor Jamal Bryant. And again, Ray J was saying that he was called a name, which there's only 2 names when it comes to, we'll just say, men that you don't want to be labeled as, and that's PEDO or a rapist. And Pastor Jamal Bryant, he has been open about being a Kamala Harris supporter. I wouldn't be surprised if he asked a question, or maybe someone on his podcast asked a question and kind of take a dig at Ray J for being a Donald Trump MAGA supporter. And also the fact that Ray J may be hypocritical in helping victims when he's victimized other people, allegedly. If he was called a thief, then it's like, okay, well, prove that I've been a thief. If he was lying about something, he would be like, show me the proof, show me the receipts. However, if he was asked about something that was kind of told through the grapevine and Ray J gave an answer and thought he was in a safe space, like Ray J was saying, and was confessing, thinking these are church people, they're not going to do anything, they're going to be trying to protect me since we're all brothers in Christ, he may have said things to incriminate himself, and now he's a little bit worried, which is why he made the threats, even though they had the agreement not to air the stuff to begin with. There are some things that once the bell is rung, you can't unring it. So even though Ray J could sue Pastor Jamal Bryant if something is aired, or maybe a potential victim could sue Pastor Jamal Bryant and Ray J, once you get labeled something and called something, you can't just simply walk it back once it's out there. And again, once the bell is rung, you can't unring it. So in my opinion, this is all alleged. I think that's what happened. And based off of what Ray J was arrested and charged for, and the fact that when he was arrested and charged, he was wilding out in Beverly Hills in 2014, Ray J's probably paid people off, like he's claiming that other celebs did. And that's why they're coming to him, asking him his advice on how to pay people off and stay silent. Pastor Jamal Bryant or someone in his podcast was asking questions about some alleged things. And that's where one thing led to another. And now Ray J is wilding out. And when it comes to Ray J, he's a serial entrepreneur. People think that he's smart. He's not smart. He's not a thinker. He's emotional. He does things on social media for attention. With him not being a thinker and him being more emotional, reactionary versus proactive, he more than likely says some stuff that's going to make people look at him differently. And I wouldn't be surprised if years from now, things come out, especially if people start trying to shake him down and he doesn't have the money to catch and delete and he gets exposed. Ray J is telling us that celebs are telling him that they're paying off alleged Diddy victims to stay quiet.
What the heck?
When it comes to social media, he has to be controversial to trend. Stuff that he does positive, including projects nobody really cares about. And he's saying that celebrities are telling him that they're paying off alleged Diddy victims to stay quiet. So Ray J has been contacted, according to him, by multiple celebrities who are so scared about their affiliation with Diddy that they're going to some of the alleged victims and paying them to keep quiet. Now, I can believe this because we've heard about stuff like this. This is known as settling out of court. Some people call it a catch and delete. And Ray J appears in TMZ's new Tubi documentary, The Downfall of Diddy Inside the Freak-Offs, and says some high-profile people are trying to cut alleged victims off at the pass even before they make money demands.
So we told you that we have a new documentary on Diddy, The Downfall of Diddy. This one is Inside the Freak-Offs, and we have told you about what at least one person says happened at the Freak-Offs. Now we want to talk about fallout. Celebrities who may have been at some of these events, some of these Freak-Offs, which is now the subject not just of a criminal investigation, but more than 120 civil cases as well.
Right. And we told you that there are celebrities who are running scared, worried that their name is going to come out in public attached to any of these freak-offs.
And they are actually settling some of these cases, if you will. They're not really cases yet, but the civil lawyers have been sending demand letters to some of the people who are at these parties saying, pay up or we're going to name you. And they don't want to be named. And this is going on apparently a lot in Hollywood, and there's someone who may be kind of at the center of all of this.
And that person is Ray J, who is telling us what he has heard directly from celebrities about how they are handling this crisis. And believe me, to them, it is absolutely a crisis. And he gave us a lot of information about what celebs are doing behind the scenes.
I'm hearing about artists paying victims to keep their name out of it.
You know people who have been approached by women, men, whatever, who have said, give me money and I won't talk?
Here's the other way around that, Harvey. I'll give you money, please don't talk.
You are a well-connected guy. Do you know that what you've just described, is that going on now?
Yes. They want to talk to me. They want to talk to me about what happened to them. They call me. They feel like they can trust me.
Wait a minute, calling you for what? Calling you for what?
Because they want to tell me about certain things that happened with them and Diddy.
Ray, I want to make sure I understand this. Are these high-profile people calling you because they've had some affiliation with Diddy that they don't want to come out and they think you might be the vessel for it coming out? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And I don't even know why I just said it, but I said it, so what? Now they gotta be mad. Come get.
Were they specific about what they did with Diddy?
I don't want to say. I think I said too much.
Well, he said a lot. He said a lot.
It is possible he said too much.
So we should also tell you that in this documentary, we also spoke with Tony Busby, who is the Houston lawyer who has more than 120 of these civil cases. And he said to us some really important things. Number one, he said there are celebrities, there are politicians and business people, all of whom they are reaching out to. And from the way it sounds, they have already sent some of them demand letters saying, pay up or we're going to file a lawsuit against you. And then he said in this documentary, which I think is really ominous, even if you didn't do anything untoward at a freak-off, if you're a celebrity who was there or anybody who was there and you saw something going on where somebody was passed out and somebody was having sex with that person and you didn't do anything, Tony Busby believes that those people are civilly liable and he's going to go after them as well.
Right, and clearly the approach here is he knows exactly what Ray J just said, that these celebrities are desperate to not be attached to it publicly in any way, so you send a demand letter and probably get an answer that you like.
I think that's the key to the whole thing, right? It's not necessarily that he did anything wrong. It's the fact that as soon as you are associated with Diddy in these parties, you're going to be tarred with that sort of, you know, that forever, right? People are going to associate you with the kind of person who attended these parties. And at least as it stands now, that's a really negative thing.
What's interesting is that Ray J has been very public about saying he did not attend.
Oh, he's very clear in this documentary. He said never has he attended a freak-off.
Sheila Zolnar from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is the least surprising news I've ever heard. Essentially, Ray J is saying that people are paying up because they don't want to be canceled. And that's the least surprising news ever. But I'll say this. It could work out in the favor of these victims. Notoriously, victims of sexual crimes are humiliated, and they continue to be humiliated through the court process. And I can understand them taking the money because they can save themselves the further humiliation. On the flip side, thanks for the offer. Thanks for identifying that I have a claim. And they could use that in their favor for negotiating purposes. So not surprising at all they pay.
The only thing I would disagree with you on is thanks for acknowledging I have a claim. A lot of these people are paying not because they think they've done something wrong. It's that it is radioactive right now to be associated, and they don't want, like you said earlier, they just don't want that association. And I even asked Tony Busby about that, and I said, look, I mean, this feels like a game. Pay me or else I'm going to name you. And he said, hey, you know,
that is the game.
He said, that's a fair point, and it is the way the system works.
Please tell me he didn't say, hate the game, not the player.
He kind of did.
I
mean, in so many words, that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
Spade. Parkland.
Cash app $
Spade. Parkland.
We're going to start getting some work done, family. So please get them donations in. Get them in. $ Spade.
Parkland.